then hopefully a fight with Teofimo can be made. It's not easy like you think it is. It's not easy just to go to the sit down and say, well, I want this to happen, because you got guys that's very greedy and say, well, we want this and we want this. Yeah. When we know Gervonta Tank Davis is one of the biggest names in the sport of boxing, to Teofimo for doing what he did. But once again, we can't judge a guy. A guy is not great because he won one fight. To become a legendary great fighter, you must continue to go out there and beat good fighters and beat great fighters. At lightweight, Tank has the biggest name. At lightweight, Tank has one of the biggest names in the sport of boxing right now. The things Tank has done and the noise that he's making and how he's selling out arenas, he has to be the A side.
No, it's not debatable.
It's not debatable at all.
Gervonta's big time, but the point is, I still want to see him against somebody big time.
Teo and Lomachenko did the biggest. Teo and Lomachenko did the biggest rating in years.
Right. Hold on. The biggest rating on ESPN that you guys talk about. But when we doing fights on Fox and also on Showtime, we don't have to go out there and talk about the ratings that we're doing. We're doing 4 million. We're doing 5 million. So we don't have to talk about that. You guys are not going to take nothing away from us. We do great numbers.
Does it sound like we're trying to take something away from you right now?
Well, I'm going to let you know that you're not going to take nothing away from us.
I'm not trying to.
Teofimo came out and said, respect the game, fuck the fame. And he was talking about that he the A side against Gervonta Tank Davis. Now, a lot of people felt like he was reaching when he made that comment. What Teo is saying, I beat Lomachenko, who's supposedly the man. That's why I'm the A side. So Leonard Allaby, Floyd Mayweather CEO, he responded to Teo, how is you the A side when you never was the main event before the Lomachenko fight? How many tickets have you sold? So my question to you is, do you agree with Teo claiming he the A side without any question, disagreeing with Floyd Mayweather? Because Floyd as well, he came out and said that Tank is the A side without a question. And the reason why Gervonta Tank Davis haven't been fighting the guys from top rank like Lomachenko and Teo and whoever is because these guys are greedy. They don't want to recognize Gervonta Tank Davis' worth as far as his star power. So because of that, Floyd said they won't go to the negotiations table till they actually recognize Gervonta worth. And Gervonta came out and said, hey, I want Teo next. So what's your take on that? Who is the A side and why? And then don't give me your opinion. I want facts. I'll put your emotion aside.
No, I'll give you the facts.
Yeah, go ahead and do that.
I mean, but this question is an opinion question. But I'll give you the facts as to why I think so. Like, the reason why I think Teofimo is the A side in this fight is very simple. It's because of the fact that he's done if this fight's at lightweight, then I don't see how Gervonta Tank Davis can be recognized above Teofimo as the A side, getting the bigger payday if Teofimo's doing everything at the lightweight division, and yet Gervonta Tank Davis hasn't accomplished anything. That's the same reason why, for example, Errol Spence believes he's the A side over Terrence Crawford, because he feels as if he's winning all these belts while Terrence Crawford only has one belt, even though Terrence Crawford may be recognized higher. Like, where if you see Tank Davis here, he only has the WBA regular title. And if he really was the A side, with Mayweather's making him out to be, then why? How can he be an A side but you're not a champion? You're not recognized as a true champion at the division. How is it that the unified champion is recognized below you as the B side, but yet you haven't fought anyone at lightweight to begin with? Anybody reputable at this point?
Yeah, so let me read the super chat. Let me read the super chat real quick. Appreciate the love and support, X. My man said Tank is proven pay-per-view stars, Teo or Loma are not. My man, Mr. Vegas also said Spence is the A side, no question about it. So let me respond to that, what you just said, which is when it comes to A side, it's really not about resume. A side is about fame. It's about tickets. It's about how popular you are. It's about how much money you bringing into the table, how much gate you bringing in, how much tickets you selling, right? That's when we talk about A side, we're not talking about resume. Does Teo have better wins right now? Of course. He beat Lomachenko. I know Floyd wanted Gervonta to be the one to beat Lomachenko to get all the hype. You know what I'm saying? Because Lomachenko has so much hype behind him that Floyd Mayweather missed out on because, according to Floyd, Bob is too greedy. But let's talk facts, which is Gervonta, you said he haven't fought anybody. He did fight good fighters. He fought Pedraza, and he also fought Leo Santa Cruz. Those two good names. He also fought multiple undefeated fighters in between, such as Smith here and there, but they weren't name opponents. So as far as the name opponents he did beat are Leo Santa Cruz, also Pedraza. So when it comes to Teofimo, there's two names he fought. They are Kome, knockout victory, Lomachenko. So he got two victories that we could compare. So obviously Teo got him beat all day because of the Lomachenko win when it comes to resume. But what I'm trying to say is they're not too far out when it comes to resume because they both only have two good wins on their resumes as far as fighters they beat around their prime time. Mr. Mechanical, I'm slipping this MJ to Keela, but call her a decaf. Oh, man. They saying you a decaf, man. What happened? They said, Joey, you was going to give me the L, man. You ain't putting the blemish on my record because it's still as pretty as it used to be. But, let's get back to the real topic. So, like I said, when it comes to Gervonta Tank Davis, he's obviously the A side without a question because we talking about they have around the same resume because they fought two name fighters. And also, Gervonta is the one bringing tickets. If I'm not mistaken, Gervonta made like 5 to 10 million his last fight. The fight before that, he made 5 million. The fight before that, he made more than 5 million. So it's like, what I'm saying to you is Tank is making 5 million. Teo haven't even cracked 2 million. Yeah, Teo haven't even cracked 2 million. So when we talking money, A side is money. A side is not resume, is none of that. Let me prove to you why A side is not resume. Remember when Floyd Mayweather fought Oscar De La Hoya?
True.
Who was the A side?
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Right. So Oscar De La Hoya. Oscar De La
Hoya was the A side.
Obviously, Oscar De La Hoya was the A side all day. Floyd had to wear whatever gloves he wanted to pick. Floyd had to fight in the arena he wanted to fight in. Man, Floyd had to do everything and anything Oscar De La Hoya wanted him to do, move up to 154, whatever he wanted, Floyd Mayweather did because he recognized Oscar De La Hoya as the A side. Now, remember, up to that point, Floyd Mayweather, he beat Gotti on pay-per-view. He sold like 350,000. He beat Baltimore on pay-per-view. And he sold nearly 500K on pay-per-view. And he fought Zab Judah on pay-per-view. He sold like 400,000 on pay-per-view. So Floyd Mayweather was pound for pound number one. No question about it. He was the king in the sport of boxing. When it comes to his resume, he also was as close to a superstar as you can get because he was doing tremendous numbers on pay-per-view. However, he wasn't doing Oscar De La Hoya numbers yet. You know what I mean? And Oscar De La Hoya came off like a 2-year retirement, fought this guy at 160. Mariaga.
Oh, Mayorga.
Yeah, my point is he fought him. And when Floyd Mayweather came to the negotiation table, Floyd Mayweather had the resume. He was the king of boxing. He was the pound for pound number one, no question. He was doing numbers. He'd been dominating the sport for 10 years. He'd been selling out tickets, all of the above. And Oscar was still the A side, even though Oscar is safe to say he wasn't nowhere near the top 5, maybe even the top 10 at the time. So why was Oscar the A side? Because obviously he brought more money. What I'm trying to point out, A side means what kind of money you bring into the table. And we know Gervonta, I mean, when Mares, if you recall Mares, when he had an eye surgery and he couldn't fight Gervonta, and Gervonta ended up fighting a fighter on short notice. I forgot who the fighter name was. I don't remember who he was. He was actually, I believe, a featherweight or maybe even a bantamweight who moved up to 130 in order to replace Mares like the last week. And Gervonta still sold out. Gervonta had Drake in the crowd. Man, Ryan Garcia was in the crowd. Ironically enough, Golden Boy had an event that same day, and Ryan Garcia came to Gervonta fight, the competitor Floyd Mayweather promotion. You know what I'm saying? Drake was in the crowd. Everybody, 2 Chainz. And what I'm trying to say is when it comes to A-side leverage is obviously who's bringing more money to the table, and that's Gervonta all day. So by Teo saying he the A-side, that's not a good look on his behalf. He should be pushing for the Tank fight, because of the fact that Taylor haven't fought Ramirez yet. And if you think about it, Taylor even came out and said he want to fight Terrence Crawford. He didn't even bring up Teo. He said he want to fight Terrence Crawford. So Taylor ain't even talking about facing Teofimo right now. So why Teofimo wouldn't fight a big fight on pay-per-view that could make him a superstar in the game like Tank, and instead move up to 140 and fight Taylor, who is not even looking to fight him right now, and he haven't even fought Ramirez yet. So the point that I'm trying to make is,
but don't you think?
Yeah.
But don't you think the victory over Teofimo Lopez, like the victory he had over Lomachenko, doesn't that boost the revenue of that fight? Don't you think the fight, if Teofimo fought Tank Davis before beating Lomachenko, like the pay-per-view numbers, like the difference in pay-per-view numbers from that fight till then, beating the number one guy that most people recognize as number one, don't you think that opened a lot of people's eyes to him potentially being the A-side?
Darnell, Tank fought Gamboa too. That's another name, fam. Yeah, but like a lot of people will say Gamboa wasn't in his prime. I didn't bring him up. The only reason I didn't bring up Gamboa, he's a name, but I brought up names that they were more so in their prime, like Leo and Pedraza. When Teo beat Lomachenko and Comey, they were in their prime. That's why I brought up the names they were in their prime. You know what I'm saying? I want to compare prime for prime, the significant wins. But like I said, to respond to your question, Joey, wins don't give you A-side leverage beating Lomachenko, because Lomachenko was never a star to begin with as far as a superstar in the game. He was hyped up, but he couldn't sell tickets. That's why he had to go fight Luke Campbell in the UK, because he couldn't sell tickets in the United States. So the point that I'm trying to make, Teo, it definitely raised his stock, but it does not make him the A-side against Tank. So the fact that he's saying he the A-side is not a good look on his behalf, because he said it. I didn't say this. Teo said it. He said everybody, they want to be Money Mayweather, but they don't want to go through that pretty boy stage. That applies to Teo as well. If Lomachenko win was the Corrales win for Teo, equivalent to Floyd, then he still got so much work.
Tank Davis is the De La Hoya win.
Yeah, no, that's not even, because the De La Hoya win was a name. Floyd Mayweather, when he beat Oscar De La Hoya was a superstar. Lomachenko is not a superstar. So when you look at
I'm saying if he fights Tank.
Oh yeah, of course, my bad, I misunderstood.
No, I see what you're saying. All right, that makes sense.
If he fight Tank and he beat Tank, if he fight Tank, for example, and beat Tank, man, you know how big he gonna become beating Lomachenko than Tank, and that's the pretty boy stage he need to go through. Is the Devin Haney's of the world, is the Tanks of the world? Then he gonna become the A-side in the future and become a Money May. But you got to go through that pretty boy stage, just like he said. But now he's not even living up to what he said after the fight with Lomachenko. Because after the fight, he said, yeah, these guys ain't going to fight me. And now everybody knocking on the door. So I still believe in Teo. I still believe he going to fight Devin Haney. I still believe he going to fight Tank. But in order to make me a believer, you got to make it happen. I can't be out here making myself look like a fool saying you're going to fight these people and then make me look foolish fighting somebody that you shouldn't be fighting, instead of making the fights that matter. Undisputed fight with Devin Haney, a big money fight with Tank. And you would think Teo will want the Tank fight. Man, you think if Floyd Mayweather had a Gervonta Tank Davis in his division, you think he will let that fly because Tank is the A-side? Man, Floyd don't give a damn about that. He proved that against Oscar. He chased Oscar De La Hoya from 130 to 154. So that's what Tank has to do in order to become an A-side. Right now, he absolutely not the A-side. So that's what you got to do when you're a fighter on the coincidental list, though. But we know the facts. Lomachenko avoided him. Now, we'll see if Teofimo does the same thing. Hopefully, they won't start treating the dream like the nightmare and treat Devin like the pretty boy Floyd. If Teo doesn't fight Devin Haney, it's not a good look on his behalf. At least fight a Tank if it ain't Devin. But to avoid both in order to fight somebody at 140 that doesn't have a big name, that's not a good look on his behalf. Now, don't get me wrong, Josh Taylor's a good fight, but Josh Taylor have unfinished business right now.
Yeah, it's not a big name.
And he have unfinished business.
Money name.
And he have unfinished business. Yeah. And remember, Josh Taylor could fight his ass off. He a pound-for-pound fighter. I'm really not understanding where Teo coming from. Appreciate it, man. So, are you going to take the L with you? I gave you 60 minutes of my time.
Yeah, you're right. All right. No, I gave you the W. This, you came in with more information than I thought because I didn't know that. I didn't know that Devin Haney was trying to keep himself quiet. I did not know that.
Hold it. You're not that pretty. I'm a bad man. Wait. I still got the world. Yo, I got the world.
witness there's only one God, Allah, and Muhammad is his final messenger. That's what I said, Larry, on the Bungle fight. Thanking you.
They call me the problem, but you could call me the can man, because anybody can get it. Africans, Americans, Dominicans, Mexicans, anybody can get it.